Welcome back to Dooley's Dog Pod. I'm John A. Trailer.
I'm no advice.
And this is a podcast where we talk about everything that happens on Dooley Field and Sanford Stadium with your Georgia Bulldogs. Just a couple days ago, we beat the mess out of Tennessee Tech. Go Dogs. And in a couple days, we're hopefully going to beat the mess out of Kentucky. So we're going to talk about both of those two games.
Rawr.
Yeah, I guess that was a wildcat.
Wildcat.
Sure. And yeah, let's just see. We didn't really take many notes because last game was just...
We both worked.
We worked and there was a lot going on. So it was just like, we scored and we scored and we scored and we scored and we scored.
And they scored. Eventually.
And then they scored.
They scored.
So we will talk about that.
They did score.
And yeah, Kentucky, they lost to South Carolina last week. So that's interesting.
I love that coach. Callback.
I'm hollering. Anyways, so we'll see just because, everyone always talks about the physicality of this game. That's always the key word. If you hear Kentucky, it's always followed up by physicality, whether that be Kirby, whether that be players. Just that's the whole thing. And I will say, based off of a little bit of research that I did, when we play there, things get a little crazy. Go ahead. You have anything you want to add before I get into that? Not the deep breath.
Before things getting a little crazy. Let me think. I don't know. I think it was a good weekend. It was fun. Enjoyed the weekend. Being done, you got to work. I kind of know what happened because I labeled everything. But yeah, I'll let you get into it. See if I think of anything.
What was your favorite part of the game?
Ooh, favorite part of the game, very beginning.
Okay. Oh my.
The very beginning of the game.
I think we probably have mentioned this before on here, but Noah has
some emotional attachment
to the battle hymn.
Yeah, to the trumpet playing and then the video playing immediately after. For some reason, I have not seen it once since I've gotten to college without tearing up. Every single time I see it, I get in my feels. And I'm like, I literally it is the most you're awake. You're in this moment. And it's I love it. It's great. But yeah, no, that's my favorite part.
That's so funny. It's you're a human being who happens to be existing at the same time as Georgia football.
Yeah.
And you're just wow.
Yeah, it's cool.
The moment.
Yeah.
It's do 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 do.
Don't do it too loud. I might start crying right now. Don't do it.
Every time it happens, I'm Noah somewhere crying.
Yeah, and this time I was alone, so nobody had to watch. It was sick. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so funny. What was my favorite part of this game?
Hanging out with me.
No, absolutely not. I'd probably say I had two favorites. So one of my friends who worked with us or whatever, she had never gone to Dog Walk before. Been a student 4 years, never gone to Dog Walk. This year is her first year not being a student. And so it was just fun being able to go to the, experience that with her because we didn't have, anything to do during this time pregame. So that was really cool.
Who didn't go?
Sandy.
For real?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I know. So it was really cool to be able to just I don't know, I was just imagining my first time ever going to Dog Walk. Because I was that one who was Dog Walk starts 2 hours and 15 minutes before the start of every single game. And I wanted to be there 4 hours before every single game so that I could make sure that I had a good spot for Dog Walk. And thank you to my friends for being committed to that with me because I was let's go. And so sometimes we had to sacrifice getting better seats so we could go to Dog Walk, but we always went. And so it's just funny because I can't really even remember the first time that I ever did that because it was just so routine for me. Game day meant Dog Walk. And so just being able to be yeah, let's go. She'd never really seen it before. I was come on. And so we got us a little spot at the very end or whatever, past the band, but it was still the moment and the vibes and it was fun.
It's crazy. First time I saw it, I was 7 or something.
What did you say?
I was 7 the first time I went to a Dog Walk. I was a child.
Yeah.
A wee boy.
No, I think she said she maybe saw one time when she was in high school, but not since she was really processing.
Yeah.
And
Interesting.
then probably my second favorite part was probably because I got so I was shooting on the sideline. It was very difficult because there was people in the way all the time. Noah knows this because he saw all, if not.
Because I labeled every clip.
Yeah, my clips. And I think I got one, I feel my best shot probably the other day was when Dan Jackson recovered the fumble.
Yes.
I had a good angle of that. So that was probably my favorite moment. So I was oh, yes, I actually got something good. But anyways.
Physicality.
Yeah, physicality with Tennessee.
Power.
Kentucky! Why do I keep saying Tennessee? Anywho, that's down the line. Anyways, with Kentucky, apparently, right? So we alternate every year when we play them,
Yes.
whatever. The last 2 times we played them, we scored less than 17 points.
Ooh.
Oh, away. Not at home. Now, at home, we have our home advantage. Exactly. Like, it's like a whole thing or whatever. But they also have a pretty serious home field advantage. And that's what we're going to have to be dealing with when we go there this weekend. Last time we played them, I think it was, I have the scores for the last 2 times, so I don't remember which time was which time. But regardless, 16-6 and 14-3.
That's crazy.
It is pretty insane because as far as our teams go, this was 2 years ago now, and then in 2020, I think, when we last played them the last 2 times or whatever. And so we had solid teams.
Yeah, they weren't bad teams.
Yeah, especially this most recent time. And so to think that we scored, again, less than 17 points, but thankfully, obviously, we're still able to hold them to less than a touchdown.
Yeah.
But still. So it's going to be really interesting. And as Noah mentioned, there's going to be some familiar faces there because Brock Vandegrift and Jamon Dumas-Johnson both play for Kentucky now.
They flipped. Traitors. Enemy of the state.
They took advantage of the transfer portal like so many athletes do nowadays.
Yeah, no, they absolutely should have. Brock, I should argue that he maybe should have never gone to Georgia. I'm always curious to what he could have amounted to if he was not a Georgia quarterback and behind other players for so long.
Yeah, I think about that sometimes because I'm like, Noah made reference to it, but like he grew up in Athens and he went to school at a private school that's here in Athens. And so I feel like a big appeal for him always was staying home, coming to Georgia, staying home and basically playing college football in his backyard. But just with the way everything worked out, with it being Stetson and Carson being right under Stetson and then Stetson being in line, or Carson being in line next, it just, he was, in a sense, running out of time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And with Carson deciding to come back this year, I mean, I feel like it's a very intelligent decision on his part to leave and go somewhere where he can hopefully try to get some numbers and stats for himself and show what he can really do, like you said. And who knows, maybe he can make it to the NFL one day. I do remember him being super talented, like when he was in high school.
Oh, yeah.
So, but yeah, so with him being there, like all the guys this week have been asked like routinely, are you looking forward to getting the chance to see Pop or getting the chance to go up against him? We had media yesterday with Truss and Chaz Chambliss. And so Chaz and Pop were like super close. They were like linebackers together in the same room for obviously years or whatever. And Chaz talked about how excited he is just to see him in general, but how it's going to be weird or whatever, like obviously with him being on the other side. And then with Brock, multiple times players have been asked like, oh, are you excited to hit him? They asked him that after the Tennessee game or whatever, like you get to hit him or whatever. And like multiple people were saying, like the reporters were like, oh, you get to hit him again. And they're like, no, we actually never got to hit him because with him being a quarterback, you can't hit them in practice, like obviously. And so this will be the first time that they're like really seeing him as like obviously like a true opposite opponent. It's not practice. It's a real game. We're not talking about practice. We're not talking about practice.
Oh God.
Practice. How many times did he say it? Like 17 times in like a span of a minute.
Yeah, we used to have a button for it. It was sick.
Allen Iverson. Anyways, so it should be really exciting. The guys talk about missing both of them, obviously, just as friends, as teammates.
Yeah.
But they also talk about how, there's no, I mean, it is what it is. Now you're wearing another uniform. Like, we got to go. We got to do what we got to do. Yeah. So.
Well, there's obviously, like, they were guys who had locker room presence or whatever, and there's relationships built there. I think even Raylan Wilson was quoted saying, like, I can't remember what the question was, but he was like, that's my brother, like talking about Pop.
Oh, yeah.
And, it makes sense for Pop to leave. I mean, Raylan Wilson's behind him, CJ's behind him, and after Pop got hurt, CJ played so well.
Yeah.
And I think there was kind of an obvious, like, all right, this kid's probably going to end up playing a significant amount. I'm going to lose some play time to it, if not a significant amount. It's like I can go somewhere where I'll get all of my play time that I want and, be the star of the show, which I think is good. I remember people watching Pop and me being like, this is one of the best linebackers like I've ever seen in person.
Yeah.
To be fair, I was never like analytically watching stuff as much as I am now.
Yeah.
But I do remember like talking about Pop being so good and like watching him play, like when he would hit somebody, it would just be so hard, or he would always like, he had kind of the N'Kobe Dean sense to just be able to read a play.
Yeah.
And just kind of be that presence in the center of the field.
Yeah, I just remember him like, I love when we had him for interviews. I just remember that like last year. Like he was so, in my opinion, he was like normally on the positive side. He was very energetic and, you know, he kind of like just spoke his mind, but like not in a bad way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I feel like he was, again, a pretty positive character or whatever. And he was very vocal, and he was very early on like vocal about wanting to be that like leader, that presence, again, kind of taking that N'Kobe Dean role on. And I feel like he did that well. And so it just kind of, it is tough that he got hurt. Because I feel like obviously ultimately that is what led to him transferring is the injury. And it's also like, I mean, we all know my, what's the word? I don't know, but it's just like for me with like CJ, obviously
bias.
Like I have like a, bias for him. That's the word I was looking for. And so like anything that happens that leads to good for him, I'm like, you know, I can't be mad about it in a sense, but it definitely is tough that, again, it was like an injury that like led to all of that. Cause I think that they could have been a great pair. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like having both of them play at the same time could have been wonderful, but it always means that somebody else is going to miss out somewhere. So I don't know. That just is what it is when it comes to college football nowadays, which is why the transfer portal is what it is, and that's why it was made, so people can take advantage of opportunities everywhere.
Yeah.
And so I can't be mad about it. I mean, I can. Don't get me wrong. There's certain people, for sure. Oh.
Almost dropped that.
Yeah, I saw.
I tried to not rub it as much.
Yes.
Hopefully the audio survived.
Okay, so other notes that I took away from press conference was there is a defensive player named Deion Walker who plays for Kentucky who's supposed to be something serious. And
serious.
They were talking to Truss about, you know, how they're planning to handle him as far as the O-line goes, so we can try to make sure we have a consistent run game and whatnot. And that was interesting.
Yeah, you know, I'm curious if that's like I didn't look back at it as much as I probably should have.
Yeah.
I'm curious if that's why Georgia's kind of continuously struggled against Kentucky, where there's like a run game establishment that couldn't happen, because that's one thing that's super significant for us is when we establish a run game, and especially with running backs like Branson Robinson, Nate Frazier, Cash Jones. It's like when you establish this run game that is so dominant, where you can just hit somebody in the mouth over and over and over and over again. By the third quarter, you're tired, and you don't want to get hit in the mouth anymore, and it makes passing easier. Yeah. So, I mean, if we start running and we're 3 and out, losing yards, it's like, okay, I can see where Georgia as a team slows down a little bit, because that's our big thing is, yeah, you have to worry about the pass game, but if you solely worry about the pass game, our run game will just tear you apart. Yeah. We have such a history of good running backs, like going all the way back to Herschel Walker, and Todd Gurley, Nick Chubb, Sonny Michel, Zamir White, James Cook, Branson Robinson this year. Nick Chubb, another one that saying Branson Robinson makes me think of him. And a lot of our running backs recently have been very Nick Chubb-esque. Like, I feel like we haven't had a ton of DeAndre Swifts. We've had a lot of Nick Chubbs. Yeah. And since we have these, like, really powerful runners.
Like bowling ball build.
Yeah.
Running backs.
We have not had the Sony Michel, DeAndre Swift, like, very elusive
I feel backs. Like the closest we've had to that is Kendall.
Milton? Yeah, and then with his injuries, he wasn't totally quick. He was more of I would say, from watching, kind of more of a receiving back. Like, he was good at catching, like, drops or, like, little drop-offs and everything. But it was, especially with injuries in his knee. I think, was it his knee that was consistently kind of causing issues? Or is his hamstring?
I don't know. He had, like, a lot going on.
There was some injury that was consistent, and I think that held him back a lot later on in college, where he was, like, he would get out of the hole and be a really good running back, but he never had, like, explosive speed where, like, if he had open space, he was outrunning every man on the other side of the ball. Yeah. Yeah.
This is Deion Walker. I don't know if we want to go through the trouble of putting a picture of him up. If not, you can, if you're watching it, you can easily
That was a dig at me.
But, no, it was not.
If Noah will put this up.
Stop. He is 6'6", 345 pounds.
Bro's built just like me. A unit.
Stop. You gotta stop. And yeah, apparently he's supposed to be pretty something serious. So, I mean, that makes sense. Just listening to, if you're even halfway athletic and you're 6'6" and 345 pounds.
Yeah. If you can move at that size, you're going somewhere in Division I for whatever sport.
Anyway, so yeah, they talked about, like Trust talked about, you know, they're planning for a strong defense because that's always what it is. They talked about how this game is always won in the trenches. Whether that be the O-line or the D-line, it's always one in the trenches.
Is Michael going to be back?
I do not believe so.
Okay. I'm good with Jalen Walker.
I do not know, but I do not believe so.
Okay.
Basically, as far as injuries go, like everybody is like...
Everyone's hurt.
Day to day in the sense of like, if they can practice and they are at a percentage that we think it would be beneficial for bringing them back before they're at 100%, then we'll play them. Mm-hmm. That's kind of like, in my opinion, what kind of Kirby was referencing whenever he was asked about injuries at this past press conference. Because, you know, they don't obviously give away too much because they technically can't.
Yeah.
But, like, he was kind of like, you know, day to day, like, this person's trying to practice today, this person's that. Like Warren Brinson, for example, practiced Monday, but we don't know if
he'll actually play.
Yeah. And a lot of it could also come down to how much we need them. So, like, for example, I think that Warren more than likely could have played this Saturday.
Oh, yeah,
but it's just like, why would we do that?
Yeah, we were up 48-3.
That doesn't make sense. Yeah. So, let's see.
Interesting fact that I heard on 90.5 WUOG.
Okay.
What's it called? Georgia Radio, or the university's student-run radio station. Carson Beck had 5 touchdown passes. Mm-hmm. The school record for one game is 5 touchdown passes. Mm-hmm. Every time a quarterback gets close to it, we step off the gas.
Pull him.
Yeah. I don't know why.
Is
there some unwritten rule?
No, it's just like, you know, I feel like when you're playing another like conference team, for the most part in the SEC, you're not going to be anywhere close to scoring 5 touchdowns on them.
Yeah.
In a game.
But I feel like let's say even we do, like Vandy. We're in a position where we can. I feel like a quarterback gets pulled every time and we never go over that 5.
Well, I mean, I just feel like it's unnecessary at that point. Like I feel like there's a certain level, and I've always felt like this with Kirby, and it's like something that I honestly I have like some respect for him for is he's not trying to humiliate another team ever. In my opinion, the biggest case of humiliating another team that this man has ever, in my opinion, okayed was the national championship. Oh, and it's a national championship.
Run it up,
Why would you stop, right? But like, again, well, first of all, it's like I think the first thing that he's concerned with is let's get this game far enough away that we can get some of these younger guys some reps, some game time like play, because that's exactly what happened in this past game. Like, so many people touched the field for the first time in their collegiate careers. And that's a huge thing because it's like, even if it's a little bit here and there, now you have some actual game time to get some jitters out. Yeah. To play with all these people watching you and, you know, see where you can go from there. And so I think that's priority number 1 for Kirby when it comes to...
Get people ready to play the game.
Exactly. Get people ready while they have a chance when we're blowing someone out to get some reps. A Cybertruck just went down the street, and I'm just like puke and throw up everywhere. Anyways.
Those are real? I've never seen one.
You've never seen one?
No.
Oh my gosh, I should have said something sooner. That's hilarious. Anyways, but number 2 for Kirby is like just his respect for other, like he's not trying to like humiliate anyone. So
and he has a lot of respect for other coaches.
100%. Always. Yeah. Always does, and that's something that I respect him for. And I don't believe it's fake. You know, I don't believe he just says it to say it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I have respect for this program, I have respect for blah, blah, blah. I think that, you know, he can kind of look and be like, I've been in these people's shoes. I've had to work my way up.
Yeah.
Like, and so it's like he hasn't always been the head coach of the best football program in the world.
Yeah.
And so he has respect for every program where it's at.
I think it's easier to do that too when you're at a like such an upper echelon of like talent and like team that you can look at these smaller teams like whereas if you were like a mid-tier team, you could still have some like grudge against like some smaller teams.
Because it's like too, like for example, going back to his press conference last Monday about Tennessee Tech, he talked about how he's in a position where he can always look and see that there's always something good somewhere. Mm-hmm. And so one of his things was, typically in the game of football, especially when it comes to the line of scrimmage, whoever has the bigger team tends to do the best.
Yeah.
No one's going to be bigger than Georgia, right?
Yeah.
So, but his point there was Tennessee Tech's guys are smaller on the line, but oftentimes when you have a smaller guy, that equates to quickness. Mm-hmm. And so they're going to be able to pop off the line and get around and move faster than what we're typically used to.
Yeah.
Because even at practice, we're playing against guys who are huge. Yeah. As far as our defensive line going against our offensive line.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just think that it would be cool to see Carson score more than or throw more than 7 touchdown passes, or 5 rather, in a game.
Yeah.
But it's just there's not really ever in recent history been a time when that's necessary.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what? 5 touchdowns is how many points? It's 35.
Yeah.
And it's typically if we have 35 points on someone, the game's over.
Yeah.
So
it was just an interesting prompt. Shout out to the university radio station for talking about that. I don't know what the show was or who was on it, but they were talking about sports, and I was like, what? Yeah, I liked it.
Hi. Yeah. A quote from Xavier Truss. He said, "We're going to have to out-trench them." Again, going back to how the game's won in the trenches, and I just thought it was really funny how he said it. We're going to have to out-trench them. So they're expecting it to be a battle, and it's there's this kind of I don't know, there's this thing of, is it Georgia players just talking the talk?
Yeah.
Or is it do we have something to seriously be not necessarily worried about, but you know what I mean? Especially.
Well, it's just a target to hit. It's what is going to be the biggest thing in this game? It is a toughness. What is going to be the biggest thing in this game? Winning in the trenches. What is going to be the biggest thing in this game? It is going to be a tough, gritty game. And I feel I know last year rained a little bit. I feel it always almost rains a little bit at these games.
Dude, I'm so glad you brought that up. So yes, it is supposed to rain. There's
this week?
An 80% chance of rain. I don't remember, but there's an 80% chance of rain when the game happens.
I feel it's every year it rains on this weekend.
And so it's supposed
to rain. It's not the
same
weekend. It's different weekends.
It is. And so that's why it's so weird. It's always something with this game. Always. Whether it be rain, snow, because 2 years ago when we played there.
Yeah.
Was it 2 years ago? Maybe it was the time before that. I don't know. It was snowing. And Caitlin has talked about how cold it was. She's that was one of the most miserable games I've ever had. And I'm really? She said her worst game ever, though, was Missouri 2 or 3 years ago when we played there. She was it was literally 6 degrees, and they didn't know it was going to be like that. It was a freeze came through that wasn't expected. And so,
you'd see me at Walmart buying layers.
No, literally, that's what she did.
Jackets,
she was she said by halfway through pregame, she was over it. She was this is one of those times when I just wanted the game to be over. It was hilarious. Anyways, yes, there's supposed to be inclement weather.
I didn't know that.
For this game.
That's what I met Rondo last year. Oh
yes, it is.
That was sick.
Because he went. We have a picture with him. That's so funny. Yeah. Again, pop it up. I'm screaming. Anyways.
I have one that I want to put.
There's that, and then, oh my gosh, you said something about the weather, and then there was one other something that I was going to bring up in reference to this game specifically that always is the case. Oh, well, no, not this game specifically, but you saying it's got they're having their core things that they're wanting out of this game is physicality, toughness, trenches. Yeah. It's also a shutout, right? So last week / 3 days ago, we technically allowed Tennessee Tech to score, which is the first time that they have ever scored on us in the history of us playing them. Fun fact.
How many times have we played them?
4, I think.
Okay.
And so never had scored on us before, and then in less than 5 seconds left in the game, field goal. But Chaz, I have a quote from him too. So I had the quote from Truss. Here's my quote from Chaz. He said, this is a paraphrase because I didn't get the exact wording, but he said that they have that holding, the standard here is that the other team doesn't score. He was if you're out there, he's we say it, if you're out there, you're a starter. And that means no matter what, they don't score. And so it was a little bit of a letdown at the end of the game.
This happens on this same week every year. We play some nobody team who puts up 1 touchdown that's on accident or 1 field goal, and then they rip the next week in media. We're no, we don't like that. And then they obliterate the team the next week. And that's not to say that that's going to happen against Kentucky, but especially when it's a home game the next week, that's when it's like, I feel like that happened before Arkansas 2 years ago when the crowd was so loud that, like, the earth was shaking. Maybe, like, I'm just mixing up memories to do it for, like, the quality of, like, the point I'm trying to make. But I always feel like some nobody team comes and play, we pay them to come play, and they get an, like, bum time score, and, like, the team comes into media the next week, like, angry. Like, nobody's ever going to score on us again.
Well,
like that's such a deja vu moment of him being like, if you're on the field, it means you're a starter. That means they don't score. And, like, that means they don't score is, like, almost a callback to every season where this has happened, and they come into media just furious.
Oh, I know. Like, that's their thing, right? So what my thing is, right, we're going to this next game. We have the whole, to your point, somebody scored on us last week.
Yeah.
We have to avenge ourselves. And then, but I'm also like, Kentucky lost to South Carolina. They're also coming into this game with something to prove.
It's going to be such a long weekend.
And so, yeah, I'm like, with them having, like, because I definitely do not believe that was expected. Like, I think 100% Kentucky was a favorite. But
yeah, but I'm not sure if people have Kentucky
historically
figured out totally.
That's true.
This year.
And so, yeah, it was just really interesting kind of watching that game and being like, wait, hold on now. Hold on. Like, wait. Because South Carolina was, like, doing their thing. And so it's like Kentucky's going to come off that and be like, we're not going to have 2 bad games in a row, you know? And it's like, it doesn't matter who they're playing. Like, they're going to come off of a game like that and just have it out. Who's Kentucky's coach?
Yeah.
I don't
think I could put a face to it.
I don't think so either.
Huh. Anyway.
I feel like once I look it up, though, I'm going to be like, wait, we knew that.
I'm not.
I think so.
I don't know him.
I think so.
Well, it's weird because I think working sideline.
Mark Stoops.
Yeah, no
Never
chance.
Mind.
The name maybe, but no, the face, no, absolutely not.
That's kind of crazy. I feel like I can. Anyways, that's not the point.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, the weird thing is, like, being on the sideline, like, you are next to these people, and, like, knowing that I've been fairly close to this person, no idea what they look like. No understanding of, like, if you told me to pick a man out of a crowd, it wouldn't have been him. It would have been a more Lane Kiffin looking dude, personally.
All right. Well, I don't have anything else. If you have anything else,
I have other things from this past weekend.
Sure.
Colorado.
Oh yeah.
That's got to be talked about. Dylan Raiola is like the creepiest clone of Patrick Mahomes, but dude is certified. Like, he is the truth.
Certified.
Like, look, we didn't get him, and I don't care. I like the quarterback room we have.
Yeah.
But my God, this kid is for real. It's a little goofy, and it might get old, and maybe it's like the hype train that was Colorado early last year. Mm-hmm. But, like, one of my roommates from the summer went to Nebraska, and one of the guys we work with went to Nebraska, and I sent them the same text, and it was, get me a straw hat and a head of corn. It's time to husk. And, like, literally, it was insane.
Stop.
I was totally cheering for him. And then watching Shannon Sharp say the things that I've been saying about Shedeur, holds on to the ball too long.
Yeah.
And I said that last year, and me and you had a little debate about it. I feel like, I'm like, he could be doing this. And and it's not to say that that's like you're gonna die on that hill. It was just like a discussion, and we have to kind of go against. No matter if I agree with you or not, there's gonna be times on this podcast where I say, "Well, what about this?" to talk about it. I've been saying this. Get me in that coaching room. I am a King Scout, bro. He holds onto the ball. He extends plays when he can throw them away or target someone who's not Travis Hunter. And then he gets sacked, and literally the D tackle for Nebraska, this 400-pound Mr. Incredible-looking white dude. He literally looks like a spitting image of the Cornhusker logo. Stop. If you gave him overalls and like a little thing hanging out of his mouth, that is the man who would be farming corn.
I can't do it.
Oh, I'm a full Cornhusker fan now. What are they, the Big Ten?
Stop.
Put the in, like, on a shirt, something. Give me Nebraska gear. I'll wear it.
Steven, he'll bring you some.
Yeah, Steven, get me some Nebraska gear because I'm 10 toes down for the Huskers. Like, straight.
Stop. The way that's so funny for
because it's against Dion. Yeah, exactly. I know what I said.
No, there's no way. There's no way.
But, and then the Nebraska. Are you good? I said I felt like getting fired up today.
Stop!
I didn't realize this about this.
Like who knew we needed to talk about freaking Nebraska? And then you'd be like, oh.
No, and then Dion is like asking. I don't know if this is confirmed. I saw this.
Yeah.
Me and Chris talked about it.
Yeah.
Dion is asking the band to stop playing the fight song after they score so they can play Shador's song.
What?
That's what I heard.
That's crazy.
And Chris talked about it, which makes you think that it came from a credible source that wasn't like poo-poo sports news.
Stop.
Like,
that's crazy.
that's just the thought. But yeah.
It's like, what? This is tradition. We can't mess with that.
What?
Like the fight song is tradition.
Yeah, but not when you're
Like,
prime time. You do whatever you want.
That is so
apparently.
true. Like he can, but not that. That is problematic. But that's actually hilarious.
Yeah.
Like how goofy. That's just goofy.
Yeah. And
But
then
I mean, we'll see.
oh god.
Who do they
Their
play
coach
next
had a
week?
great their coach had a great quote in media. They asked him about the game. I think it was game being a night game and complaining about it. And basically he was like, if it was up to me, I'd rather be kegs, eggs, and like something else. Like it apparently got Steven fired up because he was like loving it. But yeah,
Colorado State is who they play next.
Colorado plays Colorado State?
Yes.
I hope they lose. I am such an op to Colorado. I used to, like, the thing is, I wanted to go to school there. And we've talked about this.
Yes,
because
we
you
have.
wanted to go there too, I think, a little bit at one point. That was interest? Or was it just me?
It's just
Anyway, wanted to go to school there. I think we talked about USC, sharing the USC. Both wanted to go to Southern California.
UCLA.
Or UCLA,
yes. Yep.
yeah. But wanted to go there. But now, like, at first I liked the Dion, like, he's kind of like bringing some energy to it. It's kind of more of a show.
Mm-hmm.
But as it's gone on, it's just like, at this point, like, poor coaching to let your son go into a media room and say, well, how many times did Raiola get hit? It's like, well, you just threw your line under the bus. I would really hope they block for you now. And I guess his thought is, well, my daddy will cut you if you don't block for me. And it's like, well,
That's crazy.
yeah, it's like, I don't know. It's just hard to see somebody say that about their O-line. Like, even when O-lines play bad. Like, Travis Hunter preseason was saying, like, the O-line was bad in the college football game. And he was like, man, it's just like real life. And it's like, dude, calling out the O-line is not how you, like, get better.
I mean, but, like, there's also, I get your point of, like, not calling out, you know, but that is a clear weakness for their team.
Oh, there's so many weaknesses on that team that don't have the name Sanders or Hunter.
Yes, but just like the fact that, I mean, it's kind of like you kind of have to do with it what you will. Like you have to kind of acknowledge it.
Yeah.
Because it is definitely an issue.
Yeah, but that's not how you do it. Where it's like, well, how many times did he get hit?
Yeah, no, that one's definitely not great.
And then,
but
then like I'm playing bad because I'm getting hit all the time. It's like, no, you're playing bad because you won't release the ball and you're running around holding on to it way too long. And your run defense on the other side of the ball is atrocious. So Nebraska's running back can do whatever he want. He did so much to whatever he want. He ran your brother over and broke his arm.
Stop. Too much.
It's facts. It's facts.
Yes, Shador's, those comments not great, but like Travis Hunter, like him being like, oh, it's just like real life. Like that's
okay, yes.
You know what I mean?
But like that
you kinda have to
combined
be-
with now this quote 2 months later, not a great look.
Well, yeah, but like, how could he know 2 months ago that he was gonna say that? You know what I mean? And again, I feel like with Travis's case, it was more like a joking like acceptance of the fact that they don't have a great O-line.
Yes.
So
I will give him the grace of that.
Nebraska plays Northern Iowa next. So it was Northern Illinois who beat
not NIU. But what are they called? Are they also NIU?
Northern Iowa.
UNI. You know who goes there?
Who goes there?
Malik. Tall Malik Stewart.
Oh.
He's a D lineman there.
Oh, that's funny.
Huh.
That'll be interesting.
I really hope he's okay.
Watch that game.
I really hope he's okay after
I
this
mean,
week.
hey, who knows? Like, they're undefeated as well, so you never know.
That's crazy. That's the
literally never
weirdest callback ever.
I know. Isn't that odd?
Didn't see that coming.
Didn't see that coming.
No, Malik Stewart plays there. Good for him.
Which is the guy who went to our high school, by the way.
Yeah,
That's
I love that
the whole
kid.
reason that we're bringing that up. But
He played I met him when he played saxophone and was shaped like a basketball. And then he got tall and became an athlete.
Stop. Anyways, yeah. Score predictions?
This week,
I don't
after
even know.
what you just said
What do you mean?
about all
College football.
all the tight games. Let's see
What games are going to be interesting that aren't ours this week?
No, let's go. Missouri Boston College will be cool. Oregon State will be cool.
That will be good, yes.
Because Oregon's kind of on fraud watch, and Oregon State peaks into the top 25 every now and then.
Oregon's on fraud watch?
Every now and then, yeah.
That's funny.
UNI, Nebraska, because Malik Stewart. Georgia, Kentucky's going to be good.
Stop.
I think it'll be good.
It could be
Keep
good.
going. Arizona, Kansas State is a ranked game.
Yeah, that's on
There's
Friday.
also a Washington team that has a good game. Utah, Oklahoma State. My God, that's 12 versus 13, and then USC, Michigan.
That's the week after next,
Oh.
though. That's why I stopped where I stopped.
That's crazy. Okay. Yeah, I give up. All right, that looks good to me.
I'm hollering.
Score predictions.
Boston College, Missouri. I feel like that should be an actual really good game.
Yeah.
So look out for that. Wait, hold on. Wait. Sorry. I would be remiss if I did not point out the fact that Alabama almost lost to South Florida. And everyone wants to keep pretending like that didn't happen.
They came back late.
They did, but like
it was late. Yeah.
very
I
late.
didn't get the chance to watch that.
It was something else. I'll just say that. Like, it was, like, especially because that was the night that they dedicated the field to Nick Saban. So now Alabama's field is called Saban Field. And so he was there. His wife was there. They had a whole little ceremony. He was tearing up and all this stuff. And then I was like, this man is somewhere, like,
I was about to tear him up, go into halftime.
Like,
and lose it.
literally about to lose his mind. Because when I tell you that they played, I'm not going to say that they played awful. But, like, South Florida was they had, like, 5 3-and-outs in, like, the first half. And it, like, exactly. You see that face? Exactly.
Lights out.
I was like, what are we doing? Like, this was the first time I think ever in my life that I was like, Alabama football is just not being a very good representation of the SEC right now. Like, I was like, hello? And so,
saying that, we have a lot of SEC teams in the top 25. What,
that's very
7
true.
or 8?
And somehow,
6 in the top 17 or something?
Yeah. Well, somehow because of, like, in my opinion, had Boston College's head coach been South Florida, had their head coach been like a millimeter more aggressive in this game and gone for it on fourth down like a couple times.
Yeah.
Like, they had the ball on like the 10-yard line one time, and I was like, dude, just go for it. There was like maybe 6 minutes left in the game. I'm like, just go for it. And they kicked a field goal, which got them closer.
Yeah.
But it was still like they would have to have a touchdown in order to win. At that point, I was just like, if you just a little bit more aggressive, this could be a completely different story.
Yeah.
And again, this is like with less than 5 minutes left in the game, they finally come back. The fact that they did not drop at all is absurd.
They didn't drop?
They went in for, they came out for. Now, I will say there was some chaos that happened like right behind them with like Notre Dame and all this other stuff that moved some stuff around.
Some chaos.
Yeah, an extreme amount of chaos. But that said, like,
that's crazy.
I'm
not sure I realized they went in as 4 and left as 4.
Yes, they did not move.
Wait. Oh, it's Tuesday too. We're recording on Tuesday this week.
Yeah.
They're still 4.
Yes.
That has,
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
That's
it's crazy. You really should go back and watch. Everyone should go back and watch this game because, like, I don't know. It's another one of those where it's like whoever they play this week, be prepared because they're going to be on a just rampage because they'll need to be correcting what happened last week.
Yeah.
But it also should give the team that they're playing some hope of like, maybe just maybe we can be the ones, you know?
Yeah. Huh.
It was insane. Anywho, that's it.
And then NIU upset Notre Dame.
Yeah.
We don't want to go too deep into that, but we were in the office watching that. That's like one of the coolest moments. Working football, I love it, but it sucks because you're there for so long compared to some other sports usually, and I don't think people realize that. I think what they see is like, oh, you're on the sidelines. Oh, you're in like next to the locker rooms. You get to see all this stuff. Tons of fun. You're just there all day. It takes all day. And if it's a crazy game, you're there all night. If it's a 12 o'clock game, you're there at 6. If it's a night game, you're there till 2. But some of the most fun is when we're back at the office, everyone's dead tired, and some nobody team like NIU, not a nobody team, but a team that should not be winning a game, beats Notre Dame and the coach like cries in the interview and everyone on the staff is standing around the TV watching it. Like that's fun.
Yeah.
And those are moments you can't get in any other scenario. Like I would much prefer that than like I love a good tailgate, much prefer that experience than like tailgating before a game and stuff and watching it from the stands.
No, that was very like just a surreal moment to see because it's like, you know, this man, he talked about how, you know, his team bought into the idea that like, why not us? And kind of like, if we play our game, you never know what can happen. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is just such a testament. It was just like, oh, so emotional and just him like crying the entire time or whatever. And like, I think, well, I know that they kicked a field goal at the very end of the game. Notre Dame did, and they missed it. It was like their NIU's defense had played really well or whatever, stopped them like way, like I think it was like a 50-something yard. Mm-hmm. But regardless, they missed it. And it was like with seconds left. And it was like the NIU coach just like dropped to his knees. Like he was just like, and I was like, I cannot even imagine.
Was it not NIU's kicker making a field goal?
Mm-mm. They made the field goal. They made a field goal.
Okay, and then
Notre Dame came back and got in field goal range, but not really.
Just took
within
it
like
try.
40 seconds.
What happens when you work all day beforehand? Forget things.
Stop.
Sleepy.
So, yeah, that was pretty crazy too.
Yeah.
I'm glad we got both of those in there. We need to talk about that. We need to talk about Alabama. But score predictions for Kentucky and Georgia. I'm going to base mine off of some history here.
I think I am too.
But not as much as you might think. So.
Kentucky score.
Kentucky score?
Yeah.
You got it?
Yeah, I got it.
Ready, set, go.
10.
7. Almost at 10. Almost at 10. I'm going to say 7. I'm going to stick with 7. I have our score, though.
Okay.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
21.
Oh! Oh my God, we're so close.
I wanted to do 24.
Yeah.
But because I think we hit a field goal.
Yeah.
But 24 is a lot, and I don't think we hit 2 field goals to go 20. Because initially I was at 17, and I was like, I don't think it'll be within a touchdown.
Yeah. So you said 21 to 10.
Yeah.
And I'm saying 20 to 7.
This game got way more fun the more we've done this, and the closer we get in our score. Because the first season it would be like, you're over here, I'm over there. It's all over the place. And now it's very like 1 point off.
Yeah.
And there's been weeks when it's been the same, like exactly. And it's like, oh, well,
dude.
Okay. Yeah, that's been a lot more fun.
So funny though. But yeah, no, I don't know. Oh, I will say, to his point, I was the closest to the score for.
Yeah, come talk to me when you guess
Tennessee.
right.
Stop.
You still owe me 50.
For Tennessee, stop. For Tennessee,
your debts aren't forgiven.
I got their score right. I said 3. It was 3, and then I was off by 3 for hours. I said 51, and it was 48. So.
Should have said 48 then.
Stop.
Womp womp.
Stop.
Come at me when you win.
Stop. 21-10, 20 to 7. 20. Oh, that feels like a little bit low. But you know what? I'm gonna stick with it. 20 to 7, 21-10.
Okay. That was a fun show.
I think it was great.
This is one of my favorite weeks so far.
Yes.
I'm getting back in the swing of things for sure.
100%.
Yeah.
That said, this has been Dooley's Dog Pod. I'm Donnie Traylor.
I am Noah Bice.
And we thank you for listening and or watching.
Hello?
Listening and watching. And this has been a great episode. This is more of the energy that it was last year. And the year before that.
The energy I bring to the function.
Stop. You literally said that earlier. I can't even remember what you were talking about, but I was like, why are we doing this?
Did I?
You did when we were at the office.
Maybe.
Anyways, yeah, that's that. Go Dogs always. Dogs over cats, as always. So. Oh, Lord, have mercy. We'll talk to y'all next week. Peace.
See ya.
Peace.
Peace and love and positivity.
Peace, love, Lamar County.
Live, laugh.